So before we start this morning, this is our first Power Breakfast of the season. We're really excited. I'm going to enlist you all to help me out this morning. I'd love for you all to help me wish our chairman, Stephen Rubenstein, a happy birthday. Today is his birthday. Stephen, happy birthday. All right. So the city is back. I must admit, I did love the days when I can walk from Penn Station to my office without dodging tourists and dodging others going to work. However, I will say the vitality of the city over these last few months have really been exciting. If you've been around during the summer, tourists are back, workers are back. People are going out to restaurants, and it's really an exciting time. It feels like the city is finally coming back. And making sure New York City continues to be that place that everyone loves to come to live, to work, to thrive, is really core to ABNY's mission. This excitement that I'm talking about is vital to how we carry out our mission. We enjoy our role as a convener, as an actor, really here to mobilize and activate the public and private sector so that we can really address the issues of the day, the issues of the city. And as I look around the city over the past few weeks, I've noticed how New York's workforce really keeps the city moving. Our mission really is to work with all of you to make investments in industry, right? We want to make sure that industry is thriving and that industry continues to come and we have emerging sectors. It's our mission to make sure that the communities of New York City, and there are thousands of them that are very different, have the resources that they need to grow and thrive. But more importantly, it's our mission to invest in people and the workforce of this city. And as we know, talent is one of New York's most important resources and what makes our city great, right? Talent has always been the city's most important asset. So as we kick off this Education Power Breakfast series this morning, our guest speaker runs the city's largest talent pipeline, and it's important. With more than 250,000 degree-seeking students, CUNY has been, for many decades, but especially under the leadership of this chancellor, been our biggest booster of our region's skilled-based talent pipeline and our economic development resource. The City University of New York has long been recognized as one of the most diverse universities in the nation, and its diversity isn't limited to its student population. CUNY staff, their researchers, the faculty, is just as diverse and preparing the next generation of critical thinkers for our city who will be addressing the most important social and economic issues of our time. So that is why I stand before you today as a proud CUNY graduate. So with that, I'd like to introduce the birthday man. Stephen?
Morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. It's the first day of fall. I also want to say Happy New Year to everybody. Shana Tova. We know the GA is back. Subway ridership coming back. We first time about a week ago hit pre-pandemic levels, which is amazing. And obviously, it's back to school. In that spirit, we're thrilled to have the chancellor here. By the way, when you look up chancellor, it says to be responsible for all academic, fiscal, and administrative matters. In this case, that sense of scope is staggering. 240,000 students in 11 four-year colleges, 7 community colleges, and 7 professional and special schools. CUNY is the largest urban public university system in the United States. So, Vela, let me start by saying, thanks for fitting us in. But as we reach this moment of back to school, this moment can also only really be described as complicated. It's one of the reasons we're able to be optimistic in times like this is because of CUNY and the amazing education it provides. For generations, CUNY has been an inexhaustible source of great pride for us, not just with Melva as a graduate, but let's run through some others. Justice Kagan, Mayors Ed Koch and Eric Adams, trailblazing politicians like Bella Abzug, cabinet secretaries like Colin Powell, actors and artists like Lin-Manuel Miranda and Ruby Dee, and somebody worth mentioning right now, Jonas Salk. CUNY is obviously and also a powerful engine of our middle class and a real bedrock to success educating a diverse student body that is truly representative of our city. That dynamo is just as strong today thanks in no small part to our chancellor and to a really good friend of ABNY and our board member, Felix Matos Rodríguez. Before we talk about all Phalo has done in steering CUNY, especially through this moment, I just want to take a moment to express our solidarity here at ABNY for the Puerto Rican community, filled with so many amazing New Yorkers like Phalo who are critical to the fabric of our city, who we also celebrate as part of Hispanic Heritage Month. 5 years ago this week, we came together as a community to support the island after the devastation of Hurricane Maria, and I know that people in this room are stepping up in both big ways and small to get relief where it's needed following Hurricane Fiona. You can count on New Yorkers to be there for our brothers and sisters in Puerto Rico. Now, Phalo is somebody we have counted on for years and years, and he has demonstrated why during this pandemic. He had the job for less than a year when COVID started and upended how we teach. So he had to steer literally hundreds of thousands of students through distance learning and carefully manage reopenings. Before I bring it back to Phalo, I just want to take a moment to recognize a couple of the other educators here from our public education system. Lester Young, Chancellor of the New York State Board of Regents. Bill. Okay. I'll ask you to hold your applause to the end. Bill Thompson, Chair of CUNY, an amazing New Yorker and a longtime friend of ABNY. Ken Adams, President of LaGuardia Community College, and my first client when I started in the public relations business 30 years ago at New York Cares. David Wu, the President of Baruch College, and another ABNY board member and a beloved person at ABNY, Jennifer Rabb, the incredible President of Hunter College. So thank you all for being here. And thank you to the other elected officials, too many to mention, for being here as well. We're grateful for your public service. What's amazing is that COVID didn't stop CUNY from moving forward in new and important ways. Phalo said to me that he wanted to be remembered as the patron saint of paid summer internships. I am committed to someday making a statue of that, on the low end in ice, on the high end in something more permanent. But I will say something, he has committed to making that real. And here are just a couple of things he did during the pandemic. He launched the New York Jobs CEO Council, a new organization led by Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, to provide jobs and paid internships for 25,000 CUNY students from underrepresented groups. And second, he started CUNY Futures in Finance, a workforce development initiative with Bloomberg, Centerbridge, and Goldman Sachs, helping students build early careers in financial services. Today he's here with ABNY to talk about these successes and more, including the role CUNY will play in upskilling our workforce. I started by saying it's a complicated time, and we all know about inflation, coming layoffs, risk of a recession. And those fears are on the rise. Our CUNY system isn't just a bright spot on that landscape. It is literally part of the solution. And here is the undeniable truth. There is little chance for an economic recovery here in New York City that is strong, equitable, enduring without CUNY at its core. Why? Because as wonderful as President Biden's debt relief program is, it only goes so far. CUNY goes further. Ongoing, affordable, higher education, true upward mobility, and a path towards the middle class. So today, we're really proud to have our Chancellor with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Phalo, Chancellor Felix Rodríguez.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for that a great introduction, and so great to be here with the ABNY family. I join you and thank you for your remarks regarding the the situation in Puerto Rico. I think that we also want to remember our friends in the Dominican Republic, the other part where Fiona also we want to make sure that we are supportive of the efforts there also. So I am so delighted, buenos dias, to be with all of you here today. Thank you, Chairman Stephen, and my fellow members of the ABNY board for the invitation, and thanks to ABNY's dynamic CEO, Melba Miller, who mentioned that she's a CUNY alum, right? But there's a story there. She's on her third CUNY degree, right? So she's been coming back for more, and we look forward to soon calling her Dr. Melba when she finishes her PhD in social welfare at the Graduate Center. And I think that it couldn't be more fitting that this great organization, ABNY, that is dedicated to making New York a better place, is led by this wonderful CUNY alum. Want to also greet the members of the CUNY Board of Trustees who are here, Chairman Thompson, who was already saluted by Stephen, the Vice Chair, Sandra Wilkin, who's here with us. The student trustee, Salimato Domboya, is also here with us. You can give them some love. And greetings to my favorite regent, Chancellor Lester Jones. Thank you for all the work that you do. And great to see so many other elected officials. Many of you are also CUNY alums, so thank you for being here with us, and thank you for the support that you give our university throughout the year. I've been looking forward to this morning because it's an opportunity to talk with you about CUNY and its place in the city at such a transformative time. Of course, I feel like I got some home field advantage here because ABNY and CUNY are connected and aligned in so many ways. For decades, ABNY and CUNY have shared a mission of making New York City a better place, and our partnership has never been more important than it is now as we pull together on the road to recovery from the pandemic. New York's recovery must be equitable. It has to lift all New Yorkers, particularly communities of color and residents who were underrepresented in careers long before the pandemic. No other institution is better positioned to lift up New Yorkers than CUNY. I mentioned Melba's background, but I imagine that most of us in this room have some connection to CUNY. In fact, I'm curious, and I'm going to do a little bit of an exercise here. I'm going to ask for a show of hands to see how many of you either attended a CUNY school, have a family member who attended a CUNY school, have been a CUNY student, or have worked at CUNY. So will you please raise your hand if you fit that? I think my job here is done. Right? What a great illustration of CUNY's footprint all throughout the city. The story of the City University of New York began 175 years ago with a school called the Free Academy. It was created to educate and provide access, equity, and opportunity to people and families of modest backgrounds. The Free Academy became City College, and in the century that followed, Hunter, Queens, Brooklyn, and 3 community colleges opened their doors. In the volatile 1960s, city and state leaders recognized that expanding affordable public higher education was critical to transforming and rescuing New York City. Those early schools unified under the City University of New York banner to expand access to underserved populations. Through decades and generations, CUNY has shaped and transformed the city's professional and middle class. We are also one of the city's most important resources of research and creativity. I could do an entire ABNY breakfast on the research generated by our faculty that improve the quality of life of New Yorkers on a daily basis. Maybe you'll invite me again for that, all right? Furthermore, CUNY campuses are anchor institutions that are vital to the civic, economic, educational, and cultural life of their communities, their boroughs, and the city. And we are also a real estate powerhouse with an ongoing multi-billion-dollar capital construction program. And thanks to Governor Hochul and state lawmakers, we now have an additional $1 billion in capital funds to spend on new buildings and critical maintenance. You can clap, yes. 60 years after the creation of our unified system, we are again at a pivotal moment in the university's history, and it comes at a critical time for the city. This presents all of us, CUNY educators, as well as business leaders and elected officials, with an opportunity to rethink the university and ensure that it continues to meet the evolving needs of today's city and the next generation of New Yorkers. Our commitment to you is to transform CUNY into the higher education system our city needs today and in the decades ahead. Today, you're going to hear about all the ways that CUNY is transforming itself to be the entity that helps lift New York City as we come out of the pandemic. These initiatives and partnerships are part of a new CUNY, a CUNY that I believe will be more vital to the city than ever. We are ready for the challenges that transformation brings, and we need all of you here today to be our partners. Let me tell you why I believe that you should partner with us at CUNY. Because you need excellent, diverse talent, and we are the best and most abundant source of that talent. We are one of the largest, most robust university systems in the entire country. We have 20,000 faculty members from all over the world who are experts in their fields. They include MacArthur geniuses, Nobel Prize winners, and cutting-edge researchers. And they are working, in many cases directly with all of you, to prepare the next generation of experts and innovators. Our graduates are Rhodes Scholars, Fulbright Fellows, and industry leaders. Every year, our campuses turn out thousands of professionals, workers who know New York City, understand New York City, and are committed to staying here. And every day, I see the real-life results of investing in our work. They are conveyed in the stories of our students and our graduates. Let me share one such story with you. 7 years ago, Stephanie Nuesi came to New York from the Dominican Republic, speaking little English y mayormente hablando español. As a student at York College and later at Baruch, Stephanie developed an interest in business, and she began to thrive. A couple of years back, while walking with her mother in Manhattan, they passed by the offices of Google, and she told her mom that one day she was going to be working in that building. Stephanie, her mother said, "Mija, you are dreaming too high." Well, Stephanie graduated last year with an accounting degree, and now, at the age of 23, she's an associate financial analyst at Google, and also the CEO of her own startup company, a Korean consulting firm that helps college students achieve their dreams. I think that deserves a... We are preparing our students not just for the jobs of today, but for the challenges of tomorrow. We've learned to meet students where they are, to enable more New Yorkers to access an education and get the skills they need to meet the demands of the workplace today. And the workplaces of this city will certainly benefit from their perspective. Our students mirror the diversity of the 5 boroughs. They are a pivotal part of the solution when it comes to ensuring that candidate pools for in-demand jobs reflect our city. According to an upcoming report from the Center for an Urban Future, in a recent year, CUNY graduated more Black and Latino students with tech degrees than all the undergraduate degrees combined awarded by Columbia University. As I outlined our plan to equip our students to enter the workforce, Here is what I ask of you today. Be part of those students' success. Mentor them, and then, after you mentor them, hire them. And do it again, and again, and again. Our students leave CUNY with the talent, the expertise, and the assets to help your organizations thrive. And if your employees need to learn new skills, send them again to CUNY. We are committed to working with you to propel your businesses and this city towards a more equitable and prosperous future. But there will be no silver bullet to transforming talent pipelines across the city. Together, we have to pursue a constellation of big, ambitious aspirations that aim to transform the way we do business at our core, not just around the margins where it's easy. You all know that talent lives in every corner of this city, in the classroom, down the block, at the desk, and in the warehouse. We have to reach them and help them reach their futures that they can only dream about today. The first guiding principle that we've embraced at CUNY is that we must meet talented New Yorkers where they are in their career path. There's so many New Yorkers who want education or training to make themselves more marketable, but do not necessarily want to pursue a degree or are not in a position to do that right now. We are supporting them, and we want to continue to support them. During the pandemic, we launched CUNY Upskilling, a program to help thousands of New Yorkers acquire the skills and knowledge to secure jobs in fields like healthcare administration, data analytics, marketing, and infotech. Already, 7,000 New Yorkers have been helped by this program. We knew the need didn't end with the pandemic, so this week we announced an important expansion of this program. Upskilling Part 2 will allow 2,000 additional New Yorkers to take more intensive courses intended to lead directly to a job and provide credit towards future degrees. There will be more than 50 courses available at 11 campuses thanks to a $2 million investment from the New York State Department of Labor, the Bank of New York Mellon Foundation, and JP Morgan Chase. Our second principle is to partner, and partner. We must partner with industry, with government, and with employers across the city to move the needle. Our mayor understands how important it is to make sure CUNY is the go-to place for all industries when they're looking to hire talent, and we're about to make that easier. Mayor Adams, I'd like to point out, twice a CUNY graduate himself, all right? And I are proud to announce today the launch of the CUNY Inclusive Economy, a public-private partnership that aims to connect 80% of CUNY graduates to careers by the end of the decade, 80% by 2030. That's our goal. It's ambitious, and we're going to meet it. We have already secured $60 million in commitments from the city and private partners. We have amazing partners, including Cognizant, Amazon, the Carina Endowment Fund, Robin Hood, and CD&R Foundation. And we have a clear roadmap that builds on our previous success. The inclusive economy is not just starting from scratch. It builds on proven models for connecting students to in-demand careers. We are expanding the capacity of our campuses to grow and sustain talent pipelines with employers across multiple industries, with a particular focus on the fast-growing fields of tech, healthcare, and green jobs. To further prepare students for the many opportunities that are going to be generated, we also plan to connect far more of our students to paid internships, including community college students. So some of you know that this is a passion of mine, and this is why. It's very simple. We have found out from our tech students who participate in internships, they're 3 times more likely to secure a job upon graduation, right? And we've also seen how important paid internships are. They put money in our students' pockets, and they help them accumulate invaluable experience and social capital and networks. Through university-wide programs alone, we have connected more than 6,000 students to paid internships over the past 18 months. We're excited to grow this number as more companies enter the fold, and I hope that many of you today will join us in that endeavor. An example, Centerbridge, a leading investment firm, took CUNY summer interns this year because they realized that it is the best way to build diversity and change the nature of their workforce. But it is not just diversity that we offer. The quality of our hardworking students has long been admired in the workplace. Journalist Soledad O'Brien, who regularly fills her pool of company with interns from CUNY, has publicly called our interns simply amazing, right? And that opportunity is ready for all of you to take advantage for. CUNY has partnered with organizations and agencies to create opportunities for students to gain paid experiences in real estate, healthcare, and even, thanks to a program that I developed with the New York Yankees, sorry for the Mets fans here in the audience, while I was president of Ostos in the Bronx, a program in professional sports management. I am also particularly proud of our CUNY Cultural Corps, a pipeline program that was developed to train students for jobs in the city's robust arts sector. This great program, which expanded last year thanks to a $2 million gift from the Mellon Foundation, has placed more than 800 students in internships that help them lay foundations for fulfilling careers in arts and in arts administration. Our third guiding principle, look to the future. Let's not only meet the needs of today, let's anticipate where those needs will be in 3, 5, and 10 years down the road. Earlier this week, we also announced a nearly $4 million investment in partnership with the New York City Economic Development Corporation that would allow CUNY to expand green technology workforce development programs in 6 colleges across New York City. The new programs will train students the new programs will train hundreds of students each year for careers in the development of electric cars, offshore wind and solar, and the growth industries that come under the umbrella of renewable energy. This investment not only helps us battle climate change, it equips people of all backgrounds to compete for jobs in a critical growing sector that is sorely lacking diversity. CUNY is also uniquely positioned to help New Yorkers from underrepresented populations prepare for technology careers. In fact, we graduate more than 9,000 students annually with STEM degrees, including 4,000 students with just plain technology degrees. Sadly, these students are not always ending up in your offices. One of the reasons is because they lack the connections or internship experience that help many of them get a foot on the door in your companies. The other is that, and I'll be the first one to admit this, it hasn't always been easy to work with a big institution like CUNY. We want to change that, and we will change that. We know that with 25 campuses, sometimes employers need a central point of contact. That's why I recently formed the Office of Career and Industry Partnerships, led by Lauren Anderson, who's here today. Lauren, please raise your hand over there. And Lauren has already talked to many of you, right? And she's ready to welcome more into the CUNY family as we create that central point of contact for all industries in the city. As we can see, we're incredibly busy, and we have to be busy. New York City is depending on CUNY. We graduated almost 55,000 students this year, and the vast majority will stay in New York and join the local workforce. These students staff some of our city's most critical workforce sectors. Each year, CUNY graduates about 1,800 nurses. That is about half all the new nurses in the city in a typical year. We also award more than 5,000 degrees and certificates in education and supply a third of all the new teachers that start at the New York Department of Education. We've also been busy pursuing partnerships with leaders like you for several years, and we're excited about some of those partnerships that are already underway. In the summer of 2020, with the city at the height of the shutdown, we began a partnership, and Stephen alluded to that, with the New York Jobs CEO Council, a new organization led by JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, and a great friend of CUNY, and the heads of 28 of the largest employers in the New York City area. Already, that partnership has 1,300 students have earned credentials co-designed by industry in 10 in-demand fields like data analytics and cybersecurity. During the pandemic, we also unveiled the CUNY Futures in Finance, a comprehensive workforce development initiative with Bloomberg, Centerbridge, and Goldman Sachs that would cultivate and train CUNY students for careers in the financial industry, one of the largest and most sought-after employment sectors in New York. Earlier this month, CUNY's Future in Finance held a recruiting event at Bloomberg with 15 leading finance employers and students. These connections are vital because many of our students don't have exposure to professionals in these fields and therefore don't see themselves in these careers. CUNY needs to provide that connection for our students and the employers. We've also been working with small businesses. After all, small businesses employ more than half of New York City's private sector workforce. We have provided paid internships to 125 CUNY students to work in small businesses all across the city. We have plans to expand these efforts in future months, and our efforts are important to help small businesses recover from the pandemic. We're also talking to the city's Small Business Administration to help them support MWBEs, an important sector of our economy too. To expand the access to a CUNY education even further at this critical time in the city's history, we're working to draw back thousands of former students with the help of an exciting new initiative driven by the City Council Speaker Adams, another CUNY graduate, by the way, CUNY Reconnect, which Speaker Adams announced at an ABNY breakfast several months ago. This program will target 700,000 working adults in New York who have earned college credits at CUNY or someplace else, but never finished their degree. Through this program, we are reaching out to engage these former students and re-enroll them at CUNY. Governor Hochul's new investment in TAP funding for part-time students would also significantly help us bring back as many as 37,000 students from low-income New Yorkers to come back to CUNY who cannot do it in many times because they have family obligations or they provide a barrier to their work and returning to CUNY. With this support, we'll be able to bring them back and help them get the credentials they need, complete their degree, and go get even better jobs. We have many of these win-win partnerships in the pipeline, but we want to do much more. To you, my message here today is pretty simple. Pretty simple. If you believe in New York City, invest in CUNY. And let me say it again. If you believe in New York City, invest in CUNY. Think of us as a partner and envision our university as a solution to your needs. Remember that every year we turn out tens of thousands of graduates who are well prepared to join the workforce and begin meaningful careers. They are diverse, brilliant, full of tenacity and grit. Their life experiences have taught them how to tackle challenges. So if you're an employer, come to find the talent you need at CUNY. If you can't find people with an emerging skill you're looking for, look for CUNY to partner to upskill your workforce. Help us keep curriculum and programs current. Help us think about what is coming next in the world of work. Collaborate with us to provide paid internships and apprenticeships. And if you own a business, partner with a CUNY startup. And if you're a CUNY alum, there's always plenty of ways to lift up people that are back in the places where you were on campus. Interview our students for jobs. Help them find the success that you have achieved. Come back and help us prepare those who want to follow in your footsteps. If you do any of these things, what I think you will find at CUNY is a university that is worthy of your support and your confidence. A university that is building on its storied mission every day, transforming itself in ways that are carefully conceived to lift our students and benefit our city and our state. A university that truly values our stakeholders, their needs, their ideas, and their contributions as a critical element to our success. And that means everyone in this room. I hope that you will join us, support us, work with us as we move forward together on the road to a better and more resilient New York. And I thank you for your support and your partnership. Muchas gracias.
All right, thank you. We have a few minutes for questions for the Chancellor. Taina?
Good morning.
Good morning.
A few years ago, in the wake of Hurricane Maria, CUNY and SUNY did a partnership sending 500 CUNY and SUNY students down to the island to help post-recovery. I'm curious if you are committed to ensuring that that program continues and hopefully expands post-Hurricane Fiona.
So thank you for that question. You are referring to the CUNY Service Corps, which actually was created originally as a response to Hurricane Sandy. It was a program created to connect CUNY students to do paid internships, right, and help some of the nonprofits that were helping in the rebuilding of New York. So we used that model to be able to send students down to Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. We are part of the efforts from both the state and the city to see what kinds of needs are there in Puerto Rico. I was actually 2 nights ago in an event for some of the nonprofits who are doing work para la naturaleza with many of the environmental and some of the other organizations. So we're doing a lay of the land to see what the needs are, and we'll be committed, and we told this to both the governor's office and the mayor's office to help in any way that is possible, right? It might be that sending students is something that is needed at some point down the line. It might be, for example, one of the main things, as I hear feedback from Puerto Rico, is the severe losses in agriculture due to flooding. So there might be expertise that we have both at CUNY and in terms of agricultural expertise to be able to help out in Puerto Rico. So we are here to help. We made that known to the state and the city. If it is with a program that sends students, we'll do that. Sometimes that presents logistical challenges, and we want to make sure that we don't overload partners in Puerto Rico that might be dealing with housing issues and electricity issues and things like that. We want to be sensitive to what they need, but we are in a constant line of communication. And also, I mentioned that we need to do the same, also thinking about whatever damage and destruction Fiona also caused in the Dominican Republic, right, who took a much more direct hit than Puerto Rico did in Fiona. So, and I was there with a lot of those students. I was on a roof helping to clean up. I was actually with Monica helping to build a roof in the mountains of Puerto Rico. My wife thought it was somebody he'd never seen before because I'd never been up in the roof of our house. But delighted and committed to do whatever we need to help Puerto Rico now and the DR moving forward. Thank you for the question, Taina.
Thank you. Any others? Matthew?
Good morning, Chancellor. Thank you. Matthew Washington with Phipps Houses. I'm not a CUNY alum, but my mother is a Hunter graduate. And thank you, Jennifer, keeping the legacy going. although I did not follow her to Hunter, I did go to an institution whose colors were purple and gold, so there's some legacy there. Appreciate all the work that you've been doing, and as you talk about investing in CUNY is investing in New York, I truly believe that as a lifelong New Yorker. And you know, the upskilling program that you talked about and put further investment in sounds really amazing. I was reading a story of a graduate, I think he was in IT,
Yep.
who went back and took some courses, and that was inspiring and encouraging. I'm curious with the upskilling program and the partnerships that you talk about, what are the opportunities to build more upskilling tracks to identify where those needs are and develop those direct pipelines, but also help those who need an extra push or need an additional skill so they can move that forward?
Well, thank you for your question, and to those who are not CUNY alum, you still have time, right? There might be some upskilling you want to do yourself, right? And as a board member of FIPS, I'm all in favor of our talent improving themselves. Listen, like I said, the first principle, as I mentioned, is to meet the students where they are. That's going to mean helping New Yorkers with this model of upskilling, which is open to individuals who are not necessarily CUNY students. I always believe that if you do a good job in that realm, whenever that person needs additional education, training, skilling, they're going to come back to us because they were happy with the training that they received. So it's a way also to make sure that that pipeline continues of individuals who will probably need additional training and education moving forward. I think there's also a role to be done with many of our nonprofits who are very much in the ground working with different sectors of the population. They work with many that then become our students. So I think there's work to be done in connecting some of those career pipelines with the nonprofit sector to be even more nimble and efficient in doing that line of work. And this is ongoing work because, as we know, technology changes constantly. The requirements for jobs require constantly. And so we need to keep going back to employees, and that's why we wanted to create this central point for all employers to be able to come engage CUNY so that we can have our ears on the ground, listening to what's needed, adapt existing programs that we might have, expand programs that might be, excellent and might not have, there might be more demand for them that we're meeting. So that kind of interaction, I think, is indispensable. Part of the upskilling mentality is that we want to do things that are somewhat shorter. I think that's something in general at higher ed we need to sort of be more nimble. We have this traditional, semesters and things that have been set in time that I think we need to begin to tweak a little bit to be able to meet students where they are. But that's our commitment. And the response to the upskilling was, and the upskilling we did in part because we were concerned at the beginning of the pandemic of students who might be graduating and going into a really, really messed up labor market, right? Because a lot of the jobs back then were gone. And we wanted to give them a bit more flexibility for them to do different things. We learned about the great demand, and we're lucky to have the combination, in this case, the state dollars and the philanthropic partners to do more, and we want to continue to do more in that model. So thank you for your question.
Chancellor, I was hoping to ask a question on a slightly
Yes.
different subject. An unusual phone call I got last year. Melva is in Israel. She's there with you. I didn't see that coming. But seriously, can you talk a bit about anti-Semitism on campus and what CUNY is doing to fight it?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Stephen, for that question. And we are navigating in our campuses something that is unfortunately a growing global phenomenon, national phenomenon in New York City, and obviously that impacts our campuses. It's something that we take incredibly seriously, and for me, it's even a personal matter to make sure that, in this case, Jewish students feel safe in our campuses, and many of our campuses have been spaces of thriving Jewish life for many, many students, and we want that for students of all races and ethnicities and religions, but we're very committed to this issue at CUNY. You do that in two ways. One, and particularly for an educational institution, you try to be proactive. You try to create the structures, the programs, the conditions so that there be either no anti-Semitism or less anti-Semitism. And we've been investing in those things at CUNY. I did it when I was president at Queens College. And actually, some of the lessons learned at Queens, I brought in when I was chancellor. My first ask to the city council, and this was before there was an uptick in some of the cases of anti-Semitism, was to get $500,000 to replicate the work that a center at Queens that came out of the Center for Jewish Studies was developed to work with difficult conversations and sensitivity to anti-Semitism and things like that. So it was one of the first things that I did when I became chancellor, and we've kept asking for that funding from the city council to replicate the work of CERU all across the system. So that bridge building that was done there can continue. We just announced a partnership, I'm very proud, with Hillel International. 7 of our campuses are going to be part of our Campus Climate Initiative. It's a national program that Hillel has. In this last cohort, they announced 12 campuses. 7 are CUNY campuses, and that is going to be a program that's going to have administrators, staff, particularly individuals who are working in student affairs, to be going deep into campus climate, working with the students. The Hillels in our campus have been great spaces, right, for support for our Jewish students. So we're very excited about that partnership and what we learn from those conversations, from the other campuses across the nation that are facing those issues, and we can create the programming that, again, gets at the root of the issue, prevents the issue from happening, or when things happen, that people know that this is, unacceptable. I've been very vocal about that in the instances where we've had situations that affect our communities. From, again, my time at Queens, being part of vigils, when they had that shooting in the synagogue in Pittsburgh, to things here as I've been chancellor. I've been very vocal about our denouncing BDS when that has come up in some of the campuses. Actually, that message of boycotting Israeli institutions, universities. I mean, one of the things why I wanted to go to Israel and go in partnership with JCRC was to send a very, very concrete message, right? That is inconsistent with the values of our university, that will continue to be engaged. And as a result of that trip, we have partnerships with Hebrew University, Tel Aviv University, and several other campuses that came from that direct contact. So we wanted to send a very direct message about our disagreement with that movement. So we've been vocal when things occur. We've been active in trying to prevent things from happening, which is what you would expect from an educational institution. We will continue to do more. I'm going to have a proposal of some of the funding that we received from the state to be destined to give additional money to the campuses to create additional program, DEI training and things of that nature that addresses anti-Semitism. We're going to create also a mechanism to make it easier to report some of those cases. I heard feedback from the students on the campus that at times they didn't quite know where to go to navigate that. So we have all hands on decks. I am proud that I have a team. Our campus presidents are also very vocal in their support for our Jewish students and faculty and staff members. So we're all hands on deck in fighting this issue, and we look forward also to additional feedback and ideas of what we could do more. So thank you for your question.
Thank you. We have time for one more question. Okay. Right there.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Chancellor. My name is Nariman Haikel. I represent Mator in New York City. Yes, we have recently started the Alice Griffin Scholarship on a couple CUNY campuses, and we're really excited to continue the partnership. So iMentor, as many of you know, is an organization, a mentoring organization that supports student college access, persistence, and ultimate success. And we work with over 4,000 students in New York City and are proud to have over 20,000 mentor and mentee alumni. So you mentioned the idea of mentorship. And not all of us, not everybody can be an educator. Not everybody has the dollars to support young people, but every single one of us can be a mentor to a young person. So I'd love to hear more about your vision for mentoring and how that fits within CUNY's future. And just what you think.
Well, thank you for your question. And why don't we give a shout out? iMentor is a great organization. Thank you for the work that you do with us and that you also do in the public schools, because remember, 60% of those students end up going to CUNY. So that investment and that work that you do, in a way, allows them to transition easily to come to CUNY. We have taken some of the ideas around mentorship and include them in some of the programs that we have with the Department of Education, just to stay on that lane. And we are deepening our relationship with the DOE. If in this theme of the pathway to careers, which is one of the things that both the mayor and Chancellor Banks have been stressing and putting additional resources there, our team at CUNY is connected with the team of the DOE who's creating that pipeline, so we can create something that is more K-16, right? And I'm very proud of that work and putting our systems to be more supportive in that timeline. I think that mentoring, one of the things, we're having a retreat last week with all the presidents, and we're talking about this, the strategic plan and moving forward with CUNY. And one of the things that we're talking about is moving forward, how do we create a system in which our campuses different from each other, right? That they bring a different flavor. They do that now by location, by programs that they might offer. But one of the things we're discussing were student support items like mentorship, right? That maybe a badge of distinction in a campus is that it's the campus that takes mentorship at scale, right? And it's part of the student experience and part of the student support. I think one of the things that we need to do at CUNY moving forward, and I think at times being mostly a community school has not made us focus as much in the student experience side, but now it's something that we are very committed to, and the presidents are too. And in many campuses, I've seen models of different kinds of mentorship being applied. So you guys are pros at this, so we shouldn't be reinventing the wheel. So I look forward to learning more from this partnership with the two schools, and maybe that becomes a pilot that can be replicated and scaled up. So thank you so much for your question.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Chancellor, for your ambition and the get-it-doneness, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon.